Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it everywhere and even earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can even earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. Spotify for Podcasters has made our podcasting process so much easier and even has options like Q&As and polls so we can engage with listeners. I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started.
The following contains descriptions of physical violence, sexual violence, and graphic descriptions of autopsies. Hi listeners, welcome back to episode 6 of TGIC Podcast. I actually can't believe we're on episode 6. Isn't that so crazy?
Yeah, it's so crazy. Honestly, I feel like we just started this.
I know. Anyway, welcome back to episode 6. Today we're going to be doing kind of a really interesting case, actually. This is the case of Rebecca Coriam. She was an employee on a Disney cruise ship when she just disappeared. I mean, there's not, a lot to it. She just disappeared, and I think that's some of the more interesting cases. So let's just get into it. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Izzy. Okay, guys, so let's get into the background a little bit. Rebecca Coriam was a British employee on the Disney Wonder. If you guys don't know what that is, it's literally like a Disney cruise. And she was 24 at the time of her disappearance, which was on March 22nd, 2011. She was from Cheshire, England, but more specifically a town called Gildon Sutton.
British names are so,
Yeah, I know.
They're oddly fancy, but also, strange. But they probably just sound strange because, American names are freaking stupid.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, I live on Scott Boulevard. Okay. And she worked as a children entertainer aboard the Disney Wonder cruise ship. And she's quoting and saying that this was her dream job.
Okay, sorry. I gotta stop you there. I mean, I'm not trying to judge her. Did she really, she's literally quoted saying that was her dream job?
Yeah. Her family says that was her dream job and that she was so excited to do it.
Playing a Disney princess on a cruise ship?
I don't think she's playing a Disney princess. Was she playing a Disney princess?
You said children entertainer. What else would she be playing?
Yeah, I think...
Mickey Mouse?
When I think of that, I think of, you know how they have the clubhouses on, cruise ships for little kids and it's oh, go to the SeaWorld and we'll play games all day.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's more what it is.
So she's like a glorified babysitter?
Exactly.
Well, to each their own, I guess. Good for her.
So her family calls her, happy-go-lucky and overall very carefree person. And at the time of her disappearance, oh, by the way, she's lesbian, and she had a girlfriend at the time of her disappearance named Tracy Medley. Remember this name until we get into it a little bit more.
She also worked on the cruise, right?
Yeah. It's never specified exactly what she did. We don't know a lot about her, but yeah. And the cruise was on the Pacific coast of Mexico when she disappeared, but it was, her disappearance was more investigated by the Bahamian police.
What's Bahamian?
Bahamas.
Oh.
I just remember that from an episode of Gilmore Girls.
Bahamian?
Yeah.
That's so cool. Wait, that's weird. I've never thought about that before. Wait, why was it investigated by the Bahamian police if they were in Mexico? It's just weird. They were on the Pacific coast. It wasn't even they were in the Gulf of Mexico by the Bahamas. The Pacific coast is far away from the Bahamas.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really not sure. There's so many elements of this case that just don't really add up. There's that detail, and then there's also another detail about the date, so March 22nd. And I got this from the most reputable source, which was, one of the bigger news sources and more, it was CNN for England, basically.
Gotcha.
But there's, so many different dates. I heard one that was October 22nd, March, 14th. It's just, but this is the one that I think is the most accurate.
Yeah, I think March makes sense, because I feel I saw something that it was, spring break or something.
Yeah.
Okay, Jill, do you want to get into the timeline a little bit?
So at 5:45 a.m., this is the last time that Rachel has ever been seen. and she was captured on a CCTV camera video. So this is like a security camera on a cruise ship, and she was located in like the crew headquarters area. So I guess that's just where employees kind of hang out, like a lounge area,
Like a teacher's lounge, but for
like a
cruise employees.
Yeah, like the children's entertainer lounge. So, and in this video, she's like on the phone. She looks very distressed, and like to the point where she's just holding her head in her hands, even like while being on the phone. Do you want to go a little more in depth on the camera footage?
Totally. So, like Jill said, she's like on the screen at around 5:45 in the morning. And starting off, this is a weird time. Like the cruise workers, like shifts, especially her shift as like a child entertainer, starts around 9 or 9:30. So it's just weird that she was out and about at this time. She looked manic and freaked out when she was talking on the phone, and she was wearing men's clothing. Like, I guess this doesn't seem like a huge detail, but every source that we read talked about it. And this men's clothing was a large blue shirt and large black pants.
I have to say, okay, like the men's clothing thing, I really don't see the relevance of that. Everywhere seemed to mention it, and I just don't see the relevance because, like, so what, she was wearing men's clothing. A lot of people wear men's clothing, you know?
Or just, like, even oversized clothing. Like, you can't really
It could have been women's clothing, it just
difference.
was really big.
Exactly.
You know?
And it, like I said, she's like, okay, she was pulling at the clothes like she was uncomfortable in them.
She was trying to adjust them, or?
No, like, it was like, you know how you feel when you're wearing, like, a wet shirt or something and you're, like, pulling it away from your body? Like, it looked like she was very uncomfortable and then, like, they weren't her clothes or, like, she had taken them from someone. Like, it was just overall really, really
That's just
weird.
a weird detail, though. Like, I could understand. You said she was distressed. Maybe she was just pulling at the clothes as, like, a stress mechanism. I know when I'm stressed sometimes, I'll just start pulling on my clothes.
Yeah. So that's, like, not really a big thing, but I just wanted to add it in there. And in this footage, someone comes up to her and, like, asks if she's okay. And we don't really know who this is. It's most likely another cruise worker since they were up so early. And she replies, yeah, fine. And we know this from, like, her mouth movements, I guess. It was, like, analyzed by the police or whatever.
Did anyone come forward to say that was, like, them who said it? Wait,
No.
that's weird.
And the weirdest part about this, like, she quickly walked away, and nobody knows who she was talking to on the phone because her phone records were never released.
Why were her phone records never released? That's so weird.
I don't know.
I thought they did check her phone records, and in the phone records, like, they never found that call as, like, in her records.
Maybe that was the case. Maybe you read a source that I didn't find, but, like, I couldn't find the phone call anywhere. Like,
That's
usually
so
in these
weird.
cases you can find, like, the transcription of the phone records or at least, like, a log, and I literally could not find them anywhere.
I'm pretty sure I saw a source that said that she was on the phone, and they saw her on the phone, obviously, but when they went to go check her phone records, there was, like, no record of the call in the log.
Ooh,
So,
that's
like,
even creepier.
Well, yeah, because then that most likely means she was talking to someone from someone else's phone. Okay, late morning, people are, like, really starting to freak out because they haven't seen her. The first thing that, like, occurred that really freaked people out was her parents were concerned because she hadn't answered a Facebook message. And this seems, like, very normal. Like, you know, she was working, she could have been busy. But I guess it was really out of character for her to, like, not respond to texts.
Yeah. Especially if she was in contact with her parents so early, like, why would she not respond if they said
I guess.
something?
And it really depends on the person. Some people, like, I have friends, some of them I know, like, are not going to respond to text for a while. But I'm definitely a person, I respond to a text, like, almost as soon as I get it. And, like, I guess that was her character, too. Like, people were used to her being very reportive and
responsible.
Yeah, exactly. Then her fellow coworkers on the cruise ship were, like, really surprised because she didn't show up to her shift in the morning. And again, this is, like, the job that, like, was her dream job. So, like...
Yeah, like, why would she not show up
Exactly,
and not tell
like,
anyone?
That's really strange. It's not like it was a job she hated and she was ditching out on. And so then they began to, like, search on the ship for her, and they just couldn't find her. And then later on, because it was a Disney cruise ship, Disney was a part of the investigation, they claimed later on that she was, like, never seen on any of the CCTV footage after the incident at 5:45 where they saw her on the phone looking distressed.
There's no way.
There's no way. I mean, I don't know. I went on a cruise ship one time, but I know there's cameras everywhere on cruise ships.
Yeah.
Especially a kids cruise ship where, like, I mean, kids just wander off all the time. They gotta, like, make sure that they're keeping track of people, and there's just cameras everywhere. You said you Googled that, right?
Yeah, so I was really interested about this detail because I've also been on a cruise. And in part of, like, they interviewed in this article, like, a guy who worked on a cruise ship for a really long time, and he was like, literally, the second you step out of your room, you're on camera until you go back into your room. Like, there are cameras all over the ship, even, like, right outside of the bathrooms.
Yeah, so it's very unlikely to me that she was just never seen again. I mean, like, and this was an inside place. It wasn't even like she was, like...
On a deck.
On a deck, and, like, maybe something happened to her on this deck, and that was never caught on footage. Like, she was inside. She would have had to walk through places to get anywhere.
Exactly.
So there's footage somewhere, and somebody's not telling the truth.
And then another thing I found that was really, really weird, like, what were there other witnesses that came forward that saw her that morning? Like, I couldn't find any witness reports.
And I think that's strange. Like you said, it was early in the morning, but, like, obviously children's entertainers are not the only people working on the ship. There are people who are cleaning, and there are people who are, like, making food in the morning. Like, there are people out, and there are people who, like, are on the cruise as a part of their vacation that just wake up early in the morning and, like, walk the decks, you know, like old people, like mall walkers.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, someone saw her
6
and not saying
like,
anything.
it's not 2 in the morning, it's not 3 in the morning, it's 6 in the morning. Like, I'm up at 6 in the morning sometimes, and I just want to walk around, so I just don't understand how there were no witnesses who came forward.
All right, I want to talk a little bit more about the suspects and the theories of this case, because there's definitely a couple probable things, but then there's also some really unprobable ones. So the first one we're going to talk about is the fact that she could have fallen overboard. Like we mentioned earlier, if she had been on a deck or something, which she wasn't, like, it's possible she wasn't caught on footage if she were to have fallen overboard. And so this is, like, a theory that was presented by Disney, I believe, that she could have fallen, like, outside the railing on the cruise ship because...
accidentally.
Like, accidentally. Like, not so, like, someone pushed her, because that would, I guess, also be considered murder. But, like, this is just, like, she just fell overboard.
And also, this is pretty common on cruise ships.
Yeah, it's definitely common for people to fall on the cruise ship, like, overboard on the cruise ships, but this cruise had very high railings, specifically because it was a children's cruise ship.
Exactly.
And, like, they don't want little kids who aren't being monitored by their parents to fall overboard. Like,
yeah.
If they weren't high enough, they would have issues like this all the time.
Yeah.
And so it said that she would have, like, had to climb over them to even fall off because they were so high. Like, and I just don't...
That's just so weird.
Can you imagine someone just climbing over? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What were you doing at 6 a.m. trying to climb overboard?
Exactly. And like we said, there were probably people, like, onlookers. Like, someone would have stepped in and been like, "Ma'am, are you okay?"
Like, yeah, do you need help? Like, someone would have seen this. This is... And, again, like, they have camera footage outside, not just inside. So this is somewhere that someone's not letting on. So this is just really... unlikely, but it's definitely a possibility that she fallen overboard. So police did look into this, but it's, again, really unlikely and improbable because according to, like, you know, weather people, they said the waters were, like, extremely calm at the time of her disappearance. And, like, extremely calm is, like, exactly what they said. It wasn't like it could have been calm or it was calm. This is extremely calm. So, like,
it's not
what the hell?
She was unsteady or anything.
Yeah, who is lying about this? Because I'm pretty sure Disney brought forward this theory and said, like, the waves could have knocked her over. Plus, okay, I was thinking about this too. Even if, like, there was some, like, ginormous wave, like, wiping her out.
Everyone would have felt it.
Everyone would have felt it, and anyone who else, like, there's other people on this deck who could have also been knocked over, and, like, how big would this wave be? Like, cruise ships are tall. Exactly, like, what the... And also, they're, like, built not to be knocked over by, like, waves, so, like, it would have had to, like, go over the ship.
And, I mean, like we said, these freaking railings are, like, over 4 feet tall.
Exactly, and you also have to think, she works on a cruise ship. I'm sure she's certified in something that, like, protects her from being knocked over by a wave.
Exactly.
So... I mean, we gotta talk about it because she was on a cruise, and that's always, like, where people's minds go if it's not a crime case. But in this case, we really don't think she went overboard.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. Especially when you present the other possibilities, there's no way. Okay, so I'm going to get into the suicide theory. So, like we said, her family claimed that she was very happy and that she was very carefree and she loved her job on this cruise ship. But, like, her girlfriend at the time, I remember how I said to keep her in mind, never came forward. Like, until 6 years after this girl's disappearance. And she was like, I literally can't stand it anymore. Like, her family has been creating this facade for her that says that she's so happy and that she loved her life. And her girlfriend said that she had, like, a history of depression and self-harm because she was raped when she was 16.
Okay, I have to say, like, just to get this out of people's heads, we don't think the family had anything to do with her, like, disappearance, and we don't think, like, they were purposely saying all this stuff
Like,
that was
covering
false.
up her mental illness.
I think that they thought she was genuinely a happy person. I mean, I feel like they didn't see her all the time. She did live and work on this cruise ship, so they didn't get to see her. They just saw her through, like, you know, Facebook messages.
Yeah.
And phone calls. So they really didn't get to see how she was doing on this cruise ship where she worked. And, like, it's her family. Like, people don't always know that kind of thing.
Like, a lot of people don't open up to their family that much.
Exactly. And also, she disappeared. She's gone. Like, remember me fondly. Like, that's a thing. Like, people aren't going to remember, like, this disappeared woman as, like, dark and mentally unstable. Like, they're not going to remember her like that. They're going to remember her as, like, the happy person she was at some point in her life.
Exactly. And also you gotta think about, like, we don't know if her mental health, like, quickly deteriorated or, like, we don't know any of those details. We just know her, like, what her girlfriend is coming forward saying about her mental health. And she also, Rachel also had a history of drug abuse, specifically cocaine.
Cocaine? That's, like,
Which is
hard
like
drugs.
Very hard drug. Like, that will mess up your mind if you take it.
Yeah, I'm just asking, like, where the hell was she getting cocaine on a children's cruise?
I don't know. I mean, you dock in, like, random places, but
I guess, but, like, still, I'm sure she's having to get, like, checked
I'm
for
guessing
that.
it's probably really expensive. I don't know.
Does she not have to get drug tested? I mean, these are legitimate concerns for Disney. Like, if they're having, like, drug addict children's entertainers.
Drug addict, mentally ill, entertainers. No wonder, like, Disney might have done something to cover it up a little
Or
bit.
is it even possible the girlfriend was, like, not telling the whole truth or something? Because I'm sure there's got to be some records of her getting drug tests. If you work with children, you have to get regularly drug tests.
I mean, yeah. And, okay, this is very disturbing, but her girlfriend said that there was one time that she was in such, like, a bad place mentally and she had kind of, like, almost a mental breakdown that she hit her head repeatedly against the steel walls of the ship.
I just have a question. Obviously, that's very terrible. But to go with the potential theory that the girlfriend is making this up, was that ever caught on, like, video camera?
No, but I mean, we know now that Disney's not really releasing all that footage.
That's also true. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about the murder aspect of this case. This is actually on, like, our slimmest theory, honestly. Like, there has been no one who has come forward who is like, we think that, like, or no one has come forward being, like, very suspicious. You know, in cases, like, people will always have theories and people will always say, like, I think this person did. They're just so suspicious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one in this case was very suspicious, but there were a couple, like, strange aspects of her life that maybe could have turned violent and led to murder. So the first one was she was actually involved in a love triangle with people who were on the cruise.
Wait, seriously?
So her girlfriend was bisexual, and she actually had a boyfriend, like, and all of them worked on the cruise ship.
Oh, what?
And this was, like, a big deal. Like, I guess the guy was mad at her, and, like, everyone was just very angry towards each other because there was this love triangle, and I guess people were mad, but I mean, love triangles, they're romanticized in rom-coms, but could this one have turned violent? So, I mean, it's possible, but I don't know.
It seems so improbable.
And also, police have looked into these people. Like, if they really thought something was up, they would look further.
Yeah, and I mean, you gotta think about it. When you're on a cruise, like, the walls are super thin. Like, if someone was killed in a room, and this was after, like, 6 o'clock, there would have been people awake hearing that. Not to mention how they've disposed of the body.
Exactly. Like, if someone was dragging a dead body through the halls in a cruise ship at 6 a.m.
to throw it overboard.
Yeah, exactly. Someone would have noticed.
Yeah, that's just, I don't know.
Anyway, so also this call seen on the video cameras could be linked to her, like, disappearance or murder because she looked very, like, distressed, and there's no record of this phone call in her phone records. So was she talking on someone else's phone? Was there someone with her in there that, like, could not be seen on the camera? Was she talking to someone who was threatening something with her? Like, what was the deal? Whose phone is that, and why have they not said that was my phone she was talking on, you know?
Yeah.
This is, like, what I can't stand about cases like this. Like,
There
are
things.
people who have seen things, they know things, and they're not coming forward. Like, why?
I just don't understand, like, if you have information about someone's disappearance or someone's death or, like, literally anything related to a crime, I mean, I get that you might be scared to come forward, but you can do it anonymously now.
You can do anything anonymously now. And honestly, like, just think about the people that you're hurting. You don't have to risk yourself to, like, send in a tip anymore.
Yeah.
And also, relating to the murder, she was wearing those men's clothing, which might not be weird, but because she did disappear afterwards, maybe this is something associated with her disappearance. You know what I mean? Like, whose clothes were that? That's also, like, whose phone was it, you know? It's all very mysterious, and there's not a lot of answers for that.
And there's just, like, so many things that you could, like, not make up, but, like, infer about this case. Like, there was a pair of women's flip-flops found in her, like, room that weren't hers and weren't her girlfriend's. Like, you can make up so many things, like, oh, what if she cheated on her girlfriend, or, like, it's just, there's so many things that could have happened, but and since nobody has came forward, we'll never know.
There's, like, no guarantee on anything. It's just all, like, inferences based on, like, one thing, like the flip-flop, the men's clothing, the phone call. All right, Izzy, are you ready to get into your favorite part of this case?
Okay. So, the Disney cover-up theory. So, first off, let me start this off by a quote that my father said to me today. Izzy, Disney is like the Catholic Church. They cover up stuff that could taint their... What's that word? Taint their...
Reputation?
Reputation.
He said that. That's an amazing quote.
Yeah, he literally said that.
That's hilarious.
So, like, Disney, you know, it's a kid's thing. Like, every kid at one point in their life is kind of obsessed with Disney, whether it's Disney World or Disney movies.
I remember when I was, like, from the time I was, like, honestly, like, 5 to, like, 9, I was obsessed with going on a Disney cruise. I never went on one, but you know, like, that clear water slide thing?
Oh, my God.
I wanted to go on that so badly. I, like, used to watch YouTube videos of, like, other people going on it because I wanted to go on it so badly.
Oh, my God. That is literally the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life. But, yeah, like, Disney freaking brainwashes little kids to, like, want to go on their very expensive cruises or go to freaking Disney World or Disneyland. And so they believe that Disney was, like, covering up foul play committed by employees. Like, potential, like, okay, this could be many things, like murder or her being mentally ill and committing suicide.
And, like, also relating to the drug thing, like, if they were not monitoring that, like, they don't want to the reputation that, like, one of their employees, like, who was a children's entertainer, like...
Was a coke addict?
Yeah. Drug addict who killed herself, like, they don't want that. Or if someone else on the ship, like, someone she was involved in the love triangle with, or just someone else was involved in this, they don't want people to find out. It's bad for their reputation.
Exactly, and that also explains why they never released any other footage of Rebecca on the morning that she disappeared.
Rachel,
not Rebecca.
call her.
Sorry,
oh my God.
I've been listening to, like, a lot of Crime Junkie lately, and I think that was probably one of the cases that I listened to. But yeah, Rachel. Sorry. But yeah, so, like, this explained why they didn't release any footage of Rachel on the morning of her disappearance. And also, like Jillian said earlier, like, they created the Overboard theory.
That makes no sense.
That literally makes no sense.
And a lot of times they just got in the way of the police investigation. They wouldn't let them talk to people sometimes. They wouldn't give the footage. yada, yada, yada. Like, they just were very intrusive. And I understand, like, again, I do watch a lot of Law & Order, and you always see, like, the person who, like, they think is suspicious, and then they say something like, you're not searching here without a warrant. Well, you should be saying that, you know, like, don't just wave away your rights. Like, that is important, but it does make you look suspicious.
Yeah, it totally makes you suspicious. And, like, if you think about this, if Disney wasn't trying to cover something up, like, they would have been totally like, here's all of the security footage from every single camera from that day. Like,
well, not necessarily, because what if, like, they're just trying to protect their own thing? Like, it's a Disney cruise. Like, it's a Disney corporation. Like, they can't just be waving away their rights to let these people investigate. Like,
True.
Other things happen on these cruise ships that are not necessarily, like, violent crimes, but could be crime-related, and they don't want, like, to wave away their rights, and, like, what if the police find something else that they didn't want them to see? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, I think this is, like, 5 years ago. My cousin got kicked off a Disney cruise for punching this guy in the face.
Seriously?
Yeah. He was, like, 16, and he had to fly home by himself.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Oh, my
It
God.
was really funny. But, yeah, like, Disney's just trying to cover their reputation, and, like, honestly, it's kind of biting them in the ass, because now everyone's like, oh, my God, Disney's the Catholic Church. Like, But, yeah.
I gotta say, Disney is our biggest suspect in this case. What the hell does Disney know,
Disney
and why
sus
aren't
as
they
hell.
saying?
Yeah, we don't know. Like, maybe her disappearance would have been solved by now if we had some of that footage.
So, sorry for ruining Disney for you guys, but this was the case of Rachel Coriam.
Wait, is it Rachel? It's Rachel, okay.
It's Rachel. What is wrong with us?
I don't know. Okay, bye guys. We'll see you next week.
Oh my God, it's Rebecca.
Wait, are you serious? You were trying to correct me this whole time.
We are so sorry. Anytime that we said Rachel, we meant Rebecca.
Oh my God. We're so sorry, guys. See you next week.